Karina. Welcome to The Void. We're here with Christian from Samsara Blues Experiment in his first YouTube interview ever. How are you this evening?
Yeah, excited.
It's cool. We're glad to have you in Australia for the very first time.
Yeah, it's great. I don't know, it's great.
I think people are really excited. I think there's a really good community of this who love this kind of music out here. Like, I think psychedelic rock is in our blood, if you will.
Classic rock has always been, I think, a thing in Australia.
Well,
many great bands in Australia. Buffalo's a great band.
Dude, we've actually
Funny Adams is a great band. Now they are come back. Funny Adams is a great band. The guy Doug Parkinson, I think, is an awesome singer, and there's a lot of good stuff actually. Yeah.
We've got a good tradition, and we're people here.
You have to dig a bit, do great digging for records, but then you find awesome things. Yeah.
So you're from Berlin, right? So were you like a little kid when the Berlin Wall fell and stuff?
10 years. Yeah, I was 10.
What was it like?
I can speak like 2 hours now about how this was like. It was like the most exciting thing. You coming from a socialist country, and all of a sudden, like everything in your whole life changes very like rapidly and like really big changes.
What about music? How did because you obviously would have been exposed to like more American music and rock and roll, and how did that kind of play?
I mean, I was just 10 years old and not really interested in music. Like when I was 10 years old, I was interested in collecting He-Man figurines and stuff like this. And this was really crazy. I mean, I could finally buy the He-Man things. I mean, my first metal record I got when I was like 11 already, which was UDO, guy Udo Dirkschneider from Accept. But in Eastern Germany, I mean, everything was kind of, you couldn't buy records really. You couldn't go to a record store. People would like trade records a lot for like crazy prices, like 300 German marks for one, East German marks for one record. I still remember going to the first record stores was really wow, like Disneyland kind of.
So it's like a really exciting thing to be around. Was it like time to be proud to be German, or is it like a?
I have to be honest. I'm proud that I have experienced socialist life at the 10 years. Just not much, because of course when you're a child, it's very different from being an adult. When really the real life kicks in. I mean, when you have to find a job and stuff like this, which was probably really hard. But being a child in a socialist country, the whole upbringing and stuff was, I'd say it was very humane kind of, because people would care more for each other.
That's interesting.
In a way, you would really speak to your neighbors. Like nowadays, it's more like, I stick to myself and I do my thing and you do your thing. And back then, people were more like, because they had to, basically, because there was like, you couldn't, like I said, you couldn't buy records, you couldn't buy like cars or whatever you couldn't buy. It was super crazy. Yeah,
that's all. I think a lot could be learned from other like ways of living and stuff, especially as capitalist democracy is sort of burning to the ground as we witness it. Like it's a strange world to be a part of, like right now. Don't you reckon? Like, yeah.
Not strange, but yeah, it's a change must come.
Yeah,
I think.
But music's a really nice contribution to make, and I think like
it's good to spread positive vibes.
The new record's like One with the Universe. It's really good. Like it's like it's really intricate and interesting, and I often like, how do you decide where songs end and stuff?
Kind of gut feeling about the whole thing, and you feel like, okay, there should be some other part, or not.
It's more like a gut feel thing.
It's more like playing a riff. You play this riff for a while, and then you feel like, okay, there should be some chorus kind of thing. Then there's the middle part, and then there's maybe something else comes up, like all of a sudden. You never know. And but every album, I think we changed. From the first album, it was really, really intense and long, super long songs, like 20-minute songs. And then we came back to more classical song structures with the second album. And the third album was more like the kind of very heady, progressive kind of thing, and now we with the fourth album now is pretty much all of them in one.
Yeah.
And I think the next album will be very different again.
Yeah. Are you making it already?
We write songs.
Yeah. I'm gonna go a bit faster this time.
Mm,
No promise.
No.
No promises. No promises. The internet. No promises.
no. It's more kind of grungy, 90s,
Cool.
probably.
That's fun.
Yeah.
Did you grow up on a lot of that stuff?
Um,
Music.
not too much. Nirvana, of course.
Yeah.
Nirvana was big, like Soundgarden a bit, but more like Screaming Trees and Mark Lanigan stuff. Good sound, not too much going on actually. Like Fury, like Leonard Cohen, kind of more is like my kind of thing.
So when you started the solo project, were you considering not coming back to the band?
I mean, it's always an option. I mean, it was.
Glad you came back. It's really good.
Yeah, me too. But it's you know, after 10, it wasn't 10 years, but 7 years. It was 7 years. 7 years playing with the same people, doing the similar things, and it's pretty much like in a relationship. Probably, you have to work on several things in this whole big thing that life is, and musician life is, and I was just like strolling around, wandering around. What should I do? What should I do? And I fell in love with the synthesizer stuff, like Eurorack modular stuff, and did this thing. But then at some point I have to be honest, I missed being in a rock band, like rocking, playing for people, and it's just a very different approach to music. It's in the end it's all similar somehow. I mean, the electronic music, there's like trance music, Goa, whatever. This has also some kind of psychedelic vibe to it.
Yeah.
We can just space out. It didn't start in Berlin, but Berlin became like the central like place for this kind of thing to happen. It started in Detroit actually.
Yeah.
I think when the wall came down, people just from the east, especially from the east, they were just partying because celebrate the new feeling, the new freedom, whatever. And so it's very interesting.
One of the things I like about talking to musicians and talking about these stories is I think a great antidote to feeling down and feeling overwhelmed and feeling all that stuff is finding a purpose. And music is a very defined purpose, and it's something where you have that connection. How does it feel to you, and to have, especially like when we talk about like people finding you, how does it feel in terms of finding your fans when you find fans all over the world who've been kind of drawn to your thing?
So I'm really overwhelmed, to be honest, about people that come to us like fans, no matter if they're like working in a bakery or if they're like filmmakers or famous people or whatever kind of person. You can have very much overwhelming moments. Like I became friends with some of our fans, really good friends. Yeah, because we all kind of, again, resonate on this same wavelength probably. And it helps. It helped me. Also, the fans helped me, to be honest, coming back to this rock thing, because I saw there's people who really like. Yeah, it means like really a great deal to them. The music that we play, and it's something that, again, the internet. You sometimes when I'm bored or something, I just keep on browsing through YouTube comments or whatever, and then there's like
You've got really good ones.
all of a sudden there's like this one comment that can really like make your day, like really push you into another dimension, sort of like everything makes sense, you know. Sometimes I'm really like things like when we're not being covered in the magazines or whatever, it really brings me down, but then I go on YouTube or whatever, and then I'm like, okay, but we have fans and it's all good.
I feel the exact same way about YouTube. Yeah. Like, people don't talk enough about this. I have a really lovely YouTube comment section. I'm sure someone will come in and say something mean, but like, there's so many nice people out there that are just so supportive and like stop by to say, hey, I love what you did and I really appreciate what you're doing. And you're like, thank you. It's not like, it's for the love a lot.
It's our purpose. Yeah. I mean, I found like in this kind of way, I found my purpose in life. I mean, I found out, I really had a moment of total doubt about myself, not just about the band, but about myself, to be honest. Like I had this breakup from a girlfriend, whatever, and I was in a really bad period. But then I found, in a way, like my purpose, and my purpose is being a musician. I mean, playing in this band, doing my solo stuff.
Whole stoner rock renaissance that's kind of happening around the world, where there's like, feels like there's this real network. There's lots of festivals that are focusing on it, really interesting, like Desert Fest, and who else is like, Roadburn does some cool stuff, not 100% in that milieu, but
not
there's
anymore, no, but they started as a total stoner dedicated.
Oh really?
Yeah.
What's it like from your perspective in Europe? Like, how is it kind of feeling? Like, what do you think were the big catalysts for it to suddenly explode in the way it has?
I think, to be honest, the internet.
Yeah.
The internet and the change from the old media, like the magazines, which are still just covering the old bands or metal bands that are supported by big labels. You know, this is something you have to understand, that what I was saying, that the big bands are not just big bands because they play very well or whatever. They are also big because there's a lot of promotion behind the scenes. Promotion meaning marketing money, like a band like Led Zeppelin. I mean, this is a company. It's more a company than a band nowadays.
Well, they're not playing anymore, but
occasionally I think they
really?
They played like
10 years ago.
Was it?
I remember it was on the internet in London, and I 100% agree with what you're saying, because it has kind of been democratized.
It has been democratized in a way that everybody like you can have his own or her own channel for spreading the word on a band that he or she likes. And you have YouTube is like
it's amazing.
Best thing in the world.
Look, YouTube, you are the best thing in the world. Samsara is like a Hindu term and stuff. Like, what's your connection with this kind of world? Because it's really like Indian folk music is really interesting.
First time I heard the sitar was like kind of a revelation sort of thing. I was like goosebumped all over, and it took many years to buy a sitar actually, because they're kind of hard to find in Germany. There's no, you don't find them in the music shops, and. At some point, I had a girlfriend who made me read the book, this Hermann Hesse book, Siddhartha, and I read it, and there was again sort of a revelation thing going on. And at some point, I was in this kind of Indian event evening where they showed pictures of Varanasi and stuff. Varanasi is like one of the most holy cities of Hinduism, where they burn the dead people burning and or thrown in the river, whatever they do. And I had, again, goosebumps and feeling really like sort of high. I don't know how to describe. Just like hit some note or tone inside.
Something very soulful.
Something resonated inside of me, and this is where it all started. And it's like it's coming and going. This India thing for me now. I'm not so much spiritual, maybe. I don't know.
What do you use and stuff? Because I know there's a lot of like guitar nerds out in the world who'd be interested in like what equipment you use. And
honestly, I'm not really like a guitar nerd.
A lot of people.
Epiphone guitars, Epiphone Les Pauls for quite a while, because I think they're affordable and
it works.
Fit and work. Yeah. I have them modified always a bit to my needs, but nothing very fancy. It took many years to find my sound. like from the pedals that I use and from the amps that I play.
I suppose it's all instinctual, really. Like everything, it's not like there's really like music and stuff and all creative works.
In the beginning, I mean, I was really into this whole stoner rock kind of like Kaius, like how does Kaius, how do they do their sound? How you have to find out what's a wah-wah, what is this, what's bending, because I never had like a teacher or something. I was all self-taught.
I really feel like the bandwidth of people's minds have expanded on as to what they'll listen to. Like, and I think the older world is still kind of thinking people can only digest this, and it's like, no, we can digest this. And the elders of like stoner rock and this kind of music, like there is this whole culture that's undocumented. Like if you go back to Monster Magnet, it's not like there's any fucking movies about the whole history. Who do you think are your elders? Who do you think are your musical elders or peers? Who were the people that you kind of like, yeah?
I mean, I started with Metallica and stuff like this.
A gateway. They're a gateway drug.
Death metal and thrash metal, actually. I started.
Really?
Yeah.
Did you ever make a bunch of thrash songs?
I'm German. Thrash metal is still big in Germany, like Sodom and Creator. But then I discovered Kaius pretty early, like in mid '90s. I discovered, but it was already disbanded. But I discovered Kaius, and from Kaius I went to Fu Manchu. From Fu Manchu you go to Nebula, and you have Orange Goblin. All this. I now met all these people, which is super.
I think it's about riff. Do you think that's like the driving force underneath it all? Yeah. Is that the dominant force, or is it like sludge?
It's a groove. It's very groovy music. I mean, like when I listen to Kaius, coming from thrash metal to Kaius is like a big step, kind of.
You can dance to it.
You can dance to it. You can do other things to it.
Yeah.
You can enjoy yourself, and it's not always high energy, but it still is energy. It's good energy. So this is I think this is what I like. I kind of resonated on this.
It's a frequency that there's like a big. I mean, a lot of stoned people, obviously, but you don't have to be a stoner.
Stoner, I don't.
I feel it's intoxicating. Like, yeah, actually, the guy. Yeah, in a good way. Okay. Although Monster Magnet once said to me, "Oh, what do you think of the name stoner rock?" They're like, "Let's call it cocaine rock."
I mean, the weed thing implies like sleepy.
It does.
I ain't sleepy.
You're sweaty.
I'm sweaty, and I'm alive.
With cocaine rock.
They were just quite high
Many
at the
people
time.
don't like to be pushed into this stoner, dude, hey, what's up, kind of corner. I mean, I'm not a stoner at all.
Yeah, me neither.
I'm naturally stoned, I don't know.
It's really cool seeing a lot more women involved in this scene as well. Like, yeah.
I love it.
What's your theory? Because you've actually been a musician. Yeah.
Like again, coming back to the old world media kind of thing, like the music papers, the magazines, when they always have guys on the covers, like long-haired dudes. When I grew up in the 90s, I thought, okay, I have to grow my hair. I have to play guitar solos. I have to because in the 90s it was still very kind of narrow-minded. I was also a skateboarder, and when you read the skateboard magazine, there were no girls in the girls in skateboard magazines were always called Betties, and they were like, it was. I mean, when you think about it, because now I sometimes have these nostalgic moments when I like look back in my old magazines, and I feel like, what, this is really kind of offending.
Yeah.
There were bands like Purple Rhinestone Eagle was a really cool band. You should check them out. I think they broke up, but they were a really cool band, all women band.
Huggy Bear are cool. They were a cool band in the 90s.
No,
I like a riot girl band.
but I have a kind of thing also to discover. I mean, like every kind of music. But I think I'm more on my kind of feminine side. No, I really like to discover like all female bands actually.
Yeah. Well, it's
Interesting, and they have always been there, like also in the 80s and whatever. But they never had a big promotion behind them.
Yeah. I think it's important to tell stories from all the perspectives and stuff. And
Absolutely, and right now, I mean, you can feel there is a kind of change in many aspects. Like we spoke about capitalism, we speak now about
keeping it light.
gender thing.
It's a really
Because it's super important, I think, to also what I think is really important in these days is not to be depressed or something, but to really keep up a kind of positive attitude towards life in many aspects. Like, because I really I find like bands in this sludge genre, like these really super depressing bands, I find them really no, you know, you have to somehow find a balance, right?
That is actually one of the things your band's really good at, because I think there is a lot of it that feels like joyful and fun and kind of riffy and sludgy and stuff. But there's moments of sadness, and there's like a full emotional spectrum. Yeah.
I wouldn't say sadness, but yeah.
Oh, well, I think I was just sad, guys. Like, I was just listening to it before and I was feeling sad. Okay?
I have this one, there's this one lyric, line, it'll all be alright.
Yeah. I was walking around going, oh, everything dies. But I think this is once again just me projecting on your song. Yeah. Everything will be all right. Like, we're all going to die, but that's fine.
Some.
It's good.
It's a go, I hope.
Samsara and shit. So tell us about your solo album.
Solo stuff is still like evolving somehow. I just started like 3 years ago with the synthesizer stuff. Now I got really into techno, to be honest. Like, but early techno.
Do you know Aaron Spector? Yeah.
I never heard it.
I've got to show you. Okay. I have to put you in touch with this record. It's amazing.
Actually, I'm enjoying trance music, like late 90s, early 2000 trance. Yeah, I really like it. And actually, I listen more to this than to rock music. But so now, and also 80s, actually, which was like never listened to 80s like 10 years ago.
80s pop music.
Yeah, also
Pop is fucking amazing.
And like even Depeche Mode and stuff. I never listened to this stuff. No, never.
I love Ultra. Ultra's the best.
It was like the plague. Never listened to this stuff, but
it's funny how you get older and you're like, oh, I can be friends with all of you.
Yeah. Now I'm actually what I'm trying now is not techno, but some more like a synthwave kind of music. I have a drummer who is playing with me, but he's not in Berlin. He's actually in Munich. And we send stuff on the internet. Like I pre-produce stuff with a drum computer, and I have him replace the drum computer with
drums.
Let's see. It's kind of exciting.
Yeah, it's good to like have a rich musical palette that you're actually ingesting.
Like when I started, it was more ethnical, sort of like with tabla drums and more sitar, but now it's going to be more. Yeah, more synthesizers, more kind of rock. I have a bit of guitar on the new album is coming out. I think 2 months maybe.
Oh, that's huge. So have you actually finished it? Kind of.
The drummer has to play his.
Oh, that's sick. Does that have a name yet?
The album?
Yeah.
Yeah, but
It's a secret. It's a secret. The internet. It's a secret.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's fine. Well, I think we've covered a fair bit. Like, thanks, Christian. This is Christian, Samsara Blues Experiment. This is The Void. Good times.